Welcome to Andy's Garage. I'm Andy Phillips. Today I'm going to show you how to properly inflate your tires. You want to make sure that you follow proper steps so that way you don't damage the integrity of the tires. So let's go ahead and get started. Now, a lot of times what people will do is they'll actually just look at the tire itself and they'll look at the maximum PSI, which is printed on all tires. Now, PSI stands for pounds per square inch, but if we take a look at this tire, you'll be able to see what I'm talking about. Now, basically what that does is that's just giving you the maximum, that they don't want you to inflate it beyond that point. That's not what the recommended PSI is for your particular vehicle. To know that, we're going to have to take a look at either the owner's manual or on the inside of the door. A lot of times that'll be listed, and that'll give you the specific PSI for the front and rear tires for that specific vehicle. Let's go ahead and take a look. So let's open the driver's door. If you open it here, you have a label right here. Now, in some cars, it might be on the inside. We'll take a look at another car. On this vehicle, it's on the inside of the door, just like the first one we looked at. Now, on this one, there's no labels, but if we open up here, and we're going to come on the inside of the door right here, here's where you'll find the information. So this one's actually on the inside of the door, but not on the door itself. And on this one, there's nothing there, but if we come along right here, there's our label right on the side of the dash, and this gives our information right here about the tires. So on each vehicle, it's going to be a little bit different, but for the most part, it's around the driver door, whether on the door or around the inside of the door, but you'll find it in that vicinity. But on this particular vehicle that we're using for this video, it's right here. Let me get a close-up. That pretty much shows you the front and the rear, what the PSI, meaning the pressure, needs to be for their recommended. That's your front tire, FRT. Gives you the tire size that they recommend and 30 PSI on the front. Now, this is a cold tire pressure. You don't want to check it when the car's been driven and it's hot. You want it to be when it's cold. And then right here, this is for your rear. Same thing. There's your rim size, tire size, 35. And then this is your spare tire, rim, tire, PSI. So this gives you right here. So the fronts are a little bit lower. So in the case of this vehicle here, we're looking at 30 PSI in the front and then 35 in the back, which is what we're going to put in here. Now, it's very, very important that you don't overfill your tires, and people don't realize it, but I've experienced in the past where if the maximum PSI is 44, people will put 42 and kind of ride it to the end. I know some tire shops do that. You got to be very careful with that, because I've seen where tires, if they're too hard, you have that steel belt inside. If you hit a pothole or any kind of obstruction or whatever in the roadway while you're driving, you can actually break that belt inside the tire if there's not enough give and cause your whole tire to become lopsided and completely destroyed at that point. So you want to be careful. Of course, you can also get blowouts, things like that. Now, what I do, and this is me personally, you do what you want, but if, for example, it's calling for 30 and 35, what I may do is do 32 or 34 and 36, just because I like putting a little more air in there, because the more solid the tire is, the better gas mileage you get. Now, if you're dealing sometimes in a situation where you need a little more grab, then obviously you want to have less air in your tires, but we're not getting into that right now. But to follow the manufacturer recommended for your vehicle, then I would recommend doing what's written in there. I'm just saying what I personally do on mine, but you choose what you want to do. But overall, you want to follow what the specs are. So let's go into this tire. We're going to fill it up to 30, and then I'll show you. I'm going to put just a little bit more the way I would do it, and then we'll move on to the back. We have a tire here that's obviously low. I don't know if you can tell, but I'll get a better shot of it. But basically what we're going to do, I have my air compressor that has a gauge on it. If you want to see a product review that I did on a small little cigarette lighter type electric air compressor, you can check it out via the link above. I'll also have it down in the description. I'm using a pneumatic one here, but you always want to put a gauge on it to see exactly what the tire pressure is. So this one's supposed to be at 30. You can clearly see it's low. So if we put the gauge up on it, we are looking at probably just around 15, 16 PSI, which is not good at all. This car has actually been sitting, which is why it kind of leaked out. So the next thing that we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and take it up, like I said, to 30 because that's what they recommend. I'm going to go a little bit higher because that's usually what I do, but you make your own decision on that. So I'm going to take it up to about 32 to 34. Then we'll move on to the back. Okay. Go ahead and put that on there. Start filling that up, but you want to make sure that you check the gauge periodically so you don't overfill it. There we are, right about 30. We're going to take it up to 32. Like I said, that's just my personal preference. Recommended is 30. Okay. Actually, we're at about 34. Released a little bit. Okay, we're at 34 on this one. I'm going to go ahead now. We're going to go around and do 34 on the other one in the front. I'm going to do about 36 in the back. Like I said, I like to go a little bit higher, but you make your own decision on that. And then we'll be back to take a look at it and wrap this up. Now, another thing to do while you're taking care of this here, check your actual valve caps that go over the valve stem. Sometimes they can be cracked or broken. That's not a bad time at that point to replace them with a nice new one while you're working on your tires. Here's one that came off. You can see right there how it's splitting. See that? We're going to go ahead and fit it with this one here, a nice new one that we got out of that pack. Well, this wraps up this video on how to properly inflate your tires. As mentioned at the beginning, and I'll stress it again, it's very important that you go to your owner's manual or to the label inside the driver door or anywhere else it might be located on your vehicle to see what is the manufacturer recommended PSI for the front and back, because you want to make sure that you're driving properly and safely with that. You don't want tires that are too flat to where they're going to break on the sides. You don't want them overinflated to where, as mentioned before, you damage the steel belt or even get a blowout. So you want to be safe with that. So I hope this video helped you out and was informative. Please send me any questions and comments. I would love to hear from you. And as always, I appreciate all the support. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel. I'll see you next time.